Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Seth Williams from the RE Tipster blog, and I've got Victor Noriega here. And Victor is somebody who I first heard about, I think it was about a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
I noticed, as I was actually looking back at the comment, first time you ever came across my radar, and you mentioned something about me or my blog on Bigger Pockets and how you were able to do a deal, using the information that you learned. And I thought that was so cool. At that point, I hadn't really heard a lot of success stories yet. My blog was still kind of small and not a lot of people knew about me yet. And I was blown away by the fact that, oh my word, like somebody's doing this and it's working for them. Like that is so cool. And so ever since then, Victor's just kind of been on my radar, and I've just sort of been aware of him. And I was kind of interested in his business and what he's doing. And I don't know a ton of details, but I know he's doing this and he's definitely seen some success at it. So I wanted to just record a little conversation here and go back and forth and just get some more insights on his business and how it all works. So I've got a few questions here. Let me pull them up. You heard about land investing. Was it a few years ago? Like, how did the idea first come to your mind? Did you hear about it from Bigger Pockets or from
Well,
some other source?
yeah. Well, I was thinking about this. When did I really first start about land and hear about land investing? And
Yeah.
I grew up in the Southwest, in El Paso,
Okay.
and anytime you drive out of there, you see vast amounts of desert, and then come across these big billboards that say, "For sale by owner," $100 down,
Yeah.
$100 a month, and I was always like, "Who would buy out here?
Hmm.
Who's going to buy this? There's nothing out here, nothing ever." Um, so that always kind of intrigued me since I was growing up. And then, uh, you know, part of my story also is, I've always been interested in land and stuff. My grandfather owned a big farm in Mexico.
Hmm.
It was a great place to explore. I was like, man, I wish I could always have, property this big just to go out and explore, have my kids go out and explore someday.
Yeah.
Um, and then you always hear these stories about people who land banked,
Hmm.
and all these rumors of like, yeah, they actually bought that piece way out in the middle of nowhere, and the city grew out to them. Now they're retired millionaires.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that was all kind of while I was growing up thinking about that. Went to college, did all that. Then I actually first came across it. To be honest with you, when I was renting my house, I would go to Bigger Pockets, started listening to the podcast. My wife and I, it's a 10-hour drive from where we live to El Paso. So we listened to a lot of
Yeah,
podcasts on the
definitely.
route. And yours came up, the famous podcast 39
Yeah.
that everybody references. And we said, so that's how they do it. Uh, and we looked up your blog, and that's how we started. We kind of sorted through all of the information you had there, and that's kind of like, started us out.
Awesome. That is so cool. How did you have the courage to give this a shot? Did you see a certain blog post that was like, yes, I can do that? Or what was your
Uh,
first step when you got started?
so the first thing that I was thinking about is just, like I mentioned, we're thinking about renting our house, right? I'm not sure we already had the rental at that time, but we needed more. We're looking at other forms of income. I had been stock investing ever since I started
Hmm.
working, not just 401k. We did this, had coworkers. We did try to do different algorithms on the side, try to do option plays.
Hmm.
And I broke even through the 10 years that we did that, I can say. you know, and we even put money into different other investments in stocks, and it just didn't pan out. And so we said, there's got to be something to this land because I think everybody said the same thing. They're not making any more of it.
Hmm.
You can hold on to it. At the worst, is going to hold its value. I mean, well, it could get worse than that. But if you're buying a decent amount where somebody could build, it'll hold its value and you'll sell it. And we actually tried this. My wife and I were building our dream home, or we're starting to plan what we call our quote unquote dream home. We bought
Hmm.
a lot in a subdivision, and it just didn't work out. The builder didn't work out. We had barely got started into the building process, and everything just didn't feel right. So we stopped. We hadn't even broke ground. I think the most we had a perk test. That's about it. So it's still raw land, and we put it up for sale, and we made $10,000 on that lot over 1 year, and we were surprised. Like, you know, there's definitely a lot more into this, especially you know, I'm from the Central Texas area, and that's where we live now. It's just growing and growing, and so land is appreciating very fast, and like near the cities and the major cities. So that's kind of how we got started in our first. I guess that's not really our first deal, but counts as part of it.
Yeah. So that first lot, that was one that you just already owned, or did you actually buy that by doing a direct mail campaign, or how did you get that one?
We saw a for sale sign out there, and we bought it.
Okay, cool.
We bought it at its market value at the time.
Okay, awesome.
And you know, just appreciate it. So we hadn't done direct mailing until after we went through all your posts and everything that we learned along the way.
Sure. Okay. Awesome. Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of a different world than where I come from, because I know, like in Michigan, when I was getting started with this, like the market was terrible. Nobody was building anything. It was like, but I mean, I still was able to make money at it. But I think for me, the key was like, I had to buy it for nothing. Like, be absolutely sure it cannot go lower. But it sounds like in Texas, like you can kind of just buy it at market value and sit for a while, and it's going to go up. Yeah. So when you did start doing direct mail, were you using like postcards or letters, or where were you getting your lists from? How did that all work?
So after going through your blog, I went the Agent Pro route. I was still, I don't know, maybe nervous about calling up the counties asking for a list. And I was thinking, you know, I want this from one source, and I want to get, I don't know, maybe I was just my engineering background. I just want it always to be in the same format. I don't want to have.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that, for sure. Yeah.
Sort through it. So I used Agent Pro. I downloaded the list. I'm thinking that first list I just sent out as is, and through with postcards. I did use Click to Mail, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I used them, and but I did get phone calls. I mean, I think that first mailing, I had at least 5 phone calls where I was on the phone for over an hour. I was talking to different folks, different people. They're telling me everything about why they bought the property, why they're selling the property, and it just kept going on and on. And I think it was just a lot. It felt, man, I don't know if I can do this. I said, you know, because it's just a lot of my extra time taken in the evenings talking to folks that you know. So quickly learned how to cut those conversations as short as possible. And I think I'm trying to remember what happened after that. I know I got 2 deals out of that first mailing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the response, I didn't think I was even going to get one person to call me, and I had 5 folks call. We bought 2 properties from that first deal. Yeah, they were good. I mean, it was a lot of learning.
Yeah, man. No, those first campaigns, like it's just an intense learning. Oh man, there's just a lot of stuff, as I'm sure you know. So like with those deals you did, like, do you want to talk any numbers, or like were they huge deals or just kind of small deals, or how did they pan out? Well,
so the first, I'm trying to remember which was the first, which was the second. I know one of them, I'm just going to call it the Martin Lane property. I bought it from a woman. She lived near Houston. She didn't know what to do with it and sold it to me. Let me see what I had here in my notes. Sold it to me for $3,000. So it's not, you know, it's not chump change for any means.
Yeah,
it's $3,000. And I kind of took a leap of faith on that one. I said, all right, let's buy it. Closing took a little longer. I actually went through a title company on these. So it took a little longer. I think we were sorting through property owners association fees. It took a while to get that information back. And taxes was easy to cut through. I mean, we had that information. So we bought that one. And that one actually, it was funny because my second daughter was being born at the time, and I was like, you know, my wife was pregnant at the time when she was about to be born, and we decided to list it with a realtor. We said, I'm not gonna have the time to go back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
try to post it or do anything with it. So let's just post it with a realtor and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a mistake. I don't know. I don't want to speak back. I mean, they weren't dishonest. They did. I just with the price point that we're selling at, we advertised it at 10,000. At that price point, I didn't know at the time. Realtors don't work on 3% commission.
Yeah.
At that price point.
Were they going to take 10% or do a flat fee, or what were they going to do for you exactly?
They did a flat fee.
Okay.
They did, I think it was $500 or $600 flat fee to
Okay.
list it on the MLS.
Sure.
And put a sign out there. And it took over a year to sell. I mean, and I don't know why we stuck with her. I think we just said, all right, let's see how this works out.
Sure.
So that took way too long. I felt like they did the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't do anything unethical or anything. They just
don't really care as much as you do, right?
Yeah, they did the bare minimum. It was only $500 for them, and but it finally sold. I mean, it took over a year. I think after closing and everything, I know we cleared somewhere around $5,000 on that lot.
Okay. Sure.
The second lot that we bought at the same time as that first mailer, I call it the Travis County lot. This one, I didn't even think I was going to get anything in Travis County because it's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy who lived out of Corpus. He said he bought it at a tax sale for $5,000,
Mm-hmm.
and I offered him $5,000 for it. So he said, "Yeah, I'm trying that one. I think I closed. No, I did use a closing company with that one also, a title company, escrow company down here. And everything went smooth. Everything was good. And that one was the first time I learned about I used the neighbor letter method.
Oh, sure.
We actually went to go look at that lot, and I convinced myself that it was a great property.
Mm-hmm.
It was there was a slope on there.
Mm-hmm.
We saw other properties with the same slope, and there's houses on there.
Okay.
I mean, I would have never built there,
Mm-hmm.
but other people built there.
Sure.
And I was like, I don't know. I said, let's take the chance. We'll go ahead and do this. And the neighbor letter actually worked. The next door neighbor, as soon as they saw that, they had their realtor call me, and we were able to sell that one for $15,000. So
man, that is awesome.
yeah,
Great numbers, man. Well, that's when you think about even that first one you're talking about, how it took a year. I mean, that is kind of a long time. But how much work did you have to do to get that thing sold? I mean, if a realtor was doing it, I mean, even if it does take a year, I mean, that's $5,000. That's not bad at all. So, and then the second one's even better, and it doesn't sound like it was a ton of work necessarily to get that thing sold. Was it like a pretty fast turnaround from when you bought it and sell it?
Yeah, the second one was pretty much as soon as I sent out the neighbor letters, about within a month. So by buying to selling was probably about 2 to 3 months. I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
This was 3 years ago. So yeah, it was pretty quick.
Very cool.
Our experience. Those were 2 home runs for us.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We said we're going to continue to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'll be able to quit my job in 6 months. This is going to keep working. but as we all know, it's like I don't know where I heard this before. It's like it's not really beginner's luck, but it's like everything helping you out in the beginning to succeed. But then the challenges started hitting.
Yeah. What kind of challenges came up? What did it get harder after that, or was it just like what happened?
No, it was different circumstances. Like I bought lots that I shouldn't have bought. I think I have 2 lots that I purchased. I said, I'm not gonna use a title company, and I know I didn't do enough due diligence on the property because I ended up buying it, and then I found out that there was a lien on the property, and it was a builder's lien, which is weird because it was an empty lot.
Mm-hmm.
I still own it. I don't know what I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it, but it was a builder's lien. Nobody ever built on it, so that took a hit. I think it was about $1,500 I bought it for.
Mm-hmm.
Another lot I bought it also for under $2,000, and it was small. It was a small lot. It was in a subdivision, and I said, it's in a subdivision. Somebody's gonna build on it. I bought it. I went to go look at it, and it's in a subdivision, but didn't realize that there's a big old dry creek running right through the middle of it, and
Oh,
it's so small that you can't build on it.
yeah, yeah. I've seen actually several of those. They're kind of deceitful. I mean, you gotta look for that kind of thing, because it's like if you
Yeah,
don't, you would never know about it.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, and then the other part of it, as we were going, we just still got a few more deals that we made some money on, and I ended up taking out money out of the business too soon, and it kind of, I think those buying two bad properties and taking out money too soon, kind of choked the business a little bit.
sure.
So it almost felt like second year, it felt like a restart.
Hmm.
Um,
Sure.
so yeah, that's
Cool, man.
where there's a lot of little.
Yeah. So you've been doing this whole thing on a part-time basis, right? Pretty much
Yeah.
since day one. Okay. So is it like I don't know, like on the average week? It sounds like maybe it starts and stops a little bit, but does it take you like 5 hours a week, or 10 hours a week, or 3 hours, or how much time do you put into
Um,
it?
Now it takes me about 5 hours a week. When we first started, it was doing a lot of research. Pretty much every waking extra moment that I had, it was spent researching and developing everything we needed for the business,
Hmm.
looking at everything, putting together all the material. I mean, once we learned about your blog, we also listened to Mark Podolsky's
Yeah, sure.
podcast, kind of digested all those. I was trying to get as much information as possible and piece it all together.
Hmm.
And like I said, being an engineer, I was looking at, all right, I created a process map. Is
Yeah.
basically, this is where we start, this
Uh-huh.
is where we end, and let's look at all the details for each little block.
Uh-huh.
And that just took a long time. That was way before we even had our first deal. It was
Uh-huh.
just a lot of prep time for that.
Sure.
Um, yeah, and so that was in the beginning. It was probably more like 20 hours
Hmm.
for maybe the first 6 months, 20 hours getting everything done.
Hmm.
Now it's more like every 5 hours a week,
Sure.
kind of as we figured it all out.
Yeah, man. No, that sounds about right. When I was getting started, I mean, that was about the kind of time I was putting into it too. And I remember just being taken aback by like, man, this is like so time intensive. Like just to,
Yeah,
I mean, especially just getting the business stuff set up, like getting the computer and the software and the websites, and just like learning, just
yeah,
very, very
yeah,
time consuming. But you're right. It does get a lot faster when you, like, today, if I need to do a direct mail campaign or get a list, like I know exactly where to go. Doesn't take long. Would you say the same kind of thing? Is it?
yeah. I still get my list off of Agent Pro, and it doesn't take long at all. I just
Mhm.
download it. I have preset criteria that I want to look for, and that
Mhm.
automatically comes up. And
Sure.
yeah, it's quick.
Yeah. Do you when you're doing postcards or letters or whatever it is you're doing these days with direct mail, are you doing a mail merge, or is it just like because actually I didn't even really back up a little bit. I use click to mail like since day one, and I had never used a mail merge before. I figured you could probably do it, but I just didn't know. And in the RE Tipster forum, you had mentioned something about how that mail merge works and where to go to figure it out.
Right,
And I was
right.
like, oh, that's how you do it. So I actually found that really helpful from you. So
I'm glad I could help.
yeah,
I was trying to figure it out too. I think I learned it from somebody else on
okay,
a different forum. Did said the same thing,
sure,
but it's I still do postcard, mail merge. I did a few letters. I haven't done my own printouts here at home,
hmm,
which I don't do anymore. I think we started doing some of those, and then
hmm,
it was too much labor.
yeah,
And we said, yeah, let's just. So we kind of go back and forth between postcards and letters
sure,
with direct offers.
okay,
And our reasoning behind that is if we're going to enter a new county, we kind
hmm,
of do postcards to feel it all out and see
hmm,
how much response we get and kind of get a feel for the price points.
hmm,
And then when we go to repeat that same direct mail campaign, we switch it over to letters and not make them
cool,
direct offers.
awesome.
Kind of,
Yeah, man, the letters is not a bad way to go. I mean, there may be a slightly higher cost to it, but there's something to be said just for the, cutting to the chase, get to the point. Here's the
yeah,
offer, that kind of
yeah.
thing. I'm curious, when you make your offers, are you doing it like based on assessed value or the size of the property, or like how do you rationalize and decide what your number should be?
Yeah, so I have pretty much used the assessed value is what short story. I use the assessed value. Well, part of what we've been doing also is created my own database, and in there, all the Agent Pro downloads that we get, I import that into my database, and I had an algorithm run, kind of already get an idea of what the taxes are that they owe, or what the closing costs are going to be, and all that, and then it kind of just subtracts all that information and gives them. I think we're paying max out of pocket about 30% of its assessed value. So based off what we know it's going to cost us for closing, we subtract that and then just kind of round that number. Okay. So that's what we offer.
And in Texas, is assessed value the same as market value, or is it a different?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's usually the assessed value is lower. Depends on what county you are in. Sometimes it's right on. It's right on. Sometimes it's about half. Sometimes it's just a couple of $1,000s lower than the actual market value.
Yeah, so if you're going to do that, it's just important to figure out what does assessed value actually mean in that county, because that's all over the place in different states. It means different things. So.
And what we've done actually is when we do get a response, so those are kind of the blanket offers. When we do get a response, maybe they want to negotiate it, I do look at comps for that property. I look at it and I say I put 3 comps in there. And then based off of that, it also spits out, here's the average for those 3 comps, and then it'll spit out what we should offer them, the maximum we should offer them to make a profit. So.
Cool. And how do you decide what those comps are? Is it just similar sizes or similar uses? Or?
Yes, we use Zillow and Redfin. Okay. Redfin's been really great at getting us that information because they do have, I don't know how they can get the information of sold properties. So we always based it off what's sold within the past 2 years, and try to get the most recent sale comps as possible. Yeah. But that helps.
Yeah, Redfin is interesting. It's like super awesome in certain areas, and then in some markets, like there's just no data. Like they've got nothing. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, it's almost like they focus on certain cities or something. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. When it's there, it's a very, very helpful tool to have. Exactly. So did I hear at one point, have you been hiring virtual assistants to do anything in your business? Is that?
Yeah. So after we found out Agent Pro data is really old, compared to if you go to the assessor's website, when I first started this, once I learned that, I went and I got my list and I compared it against the assessor's data. And I went name by name, updated everything. If it's a different address, different owner, different assessed value, different taxes owed, I put all that information. I updated all that information. And what I did is I just created a quick, tutorial on how to do that. I sent it off to I think it was before Upwork. I forgot what it was.
Elance?
It was Elance, yeah. Well, I sent it out there. Yeah. I forgot. It was one of those.
Odesk
it wasn't
or something?
Fiverr. It wasn't Fiverr. It was sent it out there, put it out there, and I had I think somebody from the Philippines. They took my spreadsheet, they went to the county website, and they did that update. I got it back in 2 to 3 days.
Wow, nice.
And it took me about a week. so they got it back in 2 to 3 days. I haven't used them in a while just because the lists I have are still good. I still use the same list. But it's so much easier for them to do that, especially, going through the E-Myth, kind of reading all those books. I say, well, let me create how to do it, and then I'll see if this works and send it out to them. And it worked great. Continue to do that, not just for the business at work too. I started doing that. It helped me so much.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing when you kind of realize, like, man, there's good help out there, and it doesn't cost a fortune. You just have to know where to look and explain what you want well enough. And especially when that's like tasks that, even if you find a good person, they leave, it's like, just make a good video, and then they can keep teaching new people how to do it all over again. It's
exactly,
cool.
Exactly, it's amazing how that, and especially as repetitive. Anything, I've been noticing it everywhere I do, anything that's repetitive, I try to find somebody that can do it, or even automate it, macros or whatever I can find to automate that.
Yeah, and this is like, this VA is not like the same as hiring an employee. It's like, if you don't need them, you just don't hire
Yeah.
them anymore, right? You can kind of go back to them whenever you need to. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So with the properties you've been getting sold, I know you mentioned you used the neighbor letter, you used a realtor. Are there any other mediums you've been using to get these things listed and sold, or?
Yeah, we use Craigslist, Zillow, LandWatch, Land and Farm, but to be honest, the one method that seems to have worked almost 100% of the time is that for sale by owner sign.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know it's not really virtual, but I don't know. I don't know if I was on your forum, but I was trying to figure out how I could hire somebody to just go put up a for sale by owner sign.
Yeah.
I think We Go Look said they could do it, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It was weird. Some of the instructions got crossed. I was like, yeah, I need you to go buy this material, and I don't know. Somehow they thought,
Too complicated?
yeah, because I bought it where I live, and where I wanted the sign place was about 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, wait, we're not going to drive 2 hours to buy that material. I was like, there are Home Depots by you guys. so,
Oh, just shake your
yeah,
head.
it was, I think I could have explained it better to them, but I was frustrated. Plus, I like taking the whole family down on a road trip down there.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, that worked. That sign, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm in subdivisions where building is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so the target customer is always going to drive by there,
Yeah.
and they want to see what's available.
Mhm.
The best example of that is we bought one property there. There's this property up on a hill. I had several neighbors around there. We bought it for $700, and the day we went to put up the sign, I wasn't even halfway back home before I got a call, and I got it sold.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, the guy called, and I don't know. I just said 7,000. I probably could have gotten more for that lot because it was a nice lot on a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Yeah, I'll take it." And it just was that quick. And pretty much every other properties I've been selling, even if my leads come through Craigslist, because I have a sign out there, they know exactly where the property is at,
Mm-hmm.
and they can kind of take a look at it. I feel like that really is one of our secrets of kind of how we sell them fast. And it's weird because especially if there's no other signs for sale out there,
Mm-hmm.
or are you seeing the signs that are all faded out marker? You have to make sure the sign kind of
Oh, yeah.
stand the weather.
Yeah.
Because we've seen signs where somebody put permanent marker and it's just blank, so nobody knows. You know?
Wow, that's
After a week in the Texas heat, that marker just evaporates and you won't see it anymore. So
yeah.
so it's very important. It's very clear, has your number on there, and it works.
No, that's fascinating, man. For me, I've always sort of wanted to do that. It's just never been practical. Like the properties I buy, even the ones that are in Michigan, like, they're an hour away at least. And I just don't want to go out there and then take it down when it's sold. It's just like, but that's really interesting though. It's one of those things I always wondered about. Like, I wonder how much of a difference that would make, and maybe it would make a huge difference. It's cool to hear from you that you're doing that and it's really working.
Yeah, and we don't even take it down, right? Whoever buys it, they take it down.
Yeah, it's their problem now, right?
and I really, really think the best way to do that is just to hire somebody. I bet we could do a Craigslist gig, have somebody go out and do that, and then just pay them through PayPal.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't take, you go to any Walmart, go to any Home Depot, Lowe's, you find all the material you need. The other part I was exploring on that was the MLS, the flat fee listings on the MLS.
Yeah, okay.
Because when I was looking through them, they actually state that they'll go and put a sign up there. I said, "Oh, this is perfect." But it comes back to the same realtor. Their fees, I think, equated to the same amount as if I paid a realtor their flat fee.
Okay.
So it was, I don't know. We didn't really we didn't really pay it, especially because I guess where we have our properties, we go down there a lot. And it's like, we're going down there. Let's just go,
Sure.
put up the sign on the way there. No big deal.
Sure.
I know for trying to be as virtual as I want to be, this is the only non-virtual part of the business that I think we do.
Man. Well, that's the thing. It's like if it works, it's kind of hard to not do it, if you know it's going to get results. So now you said these were places in subdivisions, right? Like, were they high traffic subdivisions? Like,
not really. I mean, most of them
just like a normal neighborhood type thing?
Yeah, it's kind of not even up and coming. It's just an old neighborhood that's been there It was probably established in the 50s, and then people are just building slowly and slowly. Lately, it's the one neighborhood I target is coming up a little bit faster.
Hmm.
But yeah, there are usually still plenty of empty lots out there.
Yeah. So to the best of your knowledge, the people you've sold to, their plan is to build a house there. Like that's why they're buying it from you, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody. Today, I just sold one in that same neighborhood to a builder, and it's my first buyer that's a builder. So
Okay.
I'm hoping he can become
Yeah.
a buyer in some of the future lots I'd
Yeah,
like to see.
absolutely.
Yeah. But
Cool,
mostly
man.
everybody else is retail.
Hmm.
They're the end user. So.
Sure. Now, when you're selling these things, are you doing a self-closing process, or are you using a title company for that?
Always using a title company.
Okay.
I don't know. I got a little deterred by that one property that had the lien, so
Yeah,
I
man.
said, let's just go with the title company.
Yeah.
We'll build it into our model,
Yeah.
and we'll still make a profit off of it.
Yeah, that's to me that almost kind of reminds me of the whole debate between getting a delinquent tax list versus getting like a list from Agent Pro. It's like,
Yeah.
there are different costs involved, but sometimes like one is just easier than the other, and you kind of have
Yeah.
to pick your battles. And like, I want to spend less time banging my head against the wall in this area, and so I can free it up to do this over here. So it's
Right.
yeah, I think about that all the time. Like I close pretty much all of my deals myself in the first year, but like it takes up tons of time, and you sort of have to know what you're doing. Like I really wouldn't recommend somebody do it unless they spend some time really understanding what they're looking at and how to identify
Right.
problems. And it's not something most of us do every day. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now I think, all it is I send the purchase agreement to the title agent and say, hey, here, I got another property.
mhm.
And they say, great, get emails once in a while. And then on closing, I wire transfer the money,
Mhm.
and we're good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
even when I have to sign the deeds or, notarize it, I just go down to the credit union, and then everything's taken care of. So.
Sure. So would you say like has all of your business been like in just a few counties in Texas, or have you been doing stuff all over
Yeah.
the place? Or
We try to go to New Mexico and West Texas.
okay,
West Texas, we didn't get much hits out of there. It's weird because I know a lot of people do business out there, but I think we're looking inside the city of El Paso, and we didn't
Mhm.
get much luck out there. Then we tried New Mexico, and it was funny because I got a call from the actual tax assessor.
oh really? Interesting.
Yeah, he was upset. He was like, "Yeah, you're sending letters that people owe back taxes," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. If you look at it, it says if you owe back taxes,
Yeah.
I can pay for them." And so he, I don't know, he was pretty upset when he first called me, but after I explained what we were doing and
Mhm.
everything, he's kind of calmed down and said, "Look, I'll do this. All future mailings, I'm just going to omit the back taxes kind of jargon from my mailers.
Sure.
And that way we'll take care of that. We'll just say if it's unwanted property, we'll buy it from you."
Yeah.
He was kind of satisfied with that.
Yeah,
So,
it's I don't really know that it's I mean, I guess I don't have any like hard evidence to prove this, but like I don't know if it's a huge deal really that you mention it
Yeah.
or not. I mean, people know their own situation, and it's as long as you just kind of make it evident that hey, I'm here for you, I can make it easy. Give me a call
Yeah.
or send this back, that kind of thing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just could imagine a whole bunch of people received the same letter. Maybe they were all neighbors, got upset.
Yeah, could be. Who knows?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Cool. So, are there any particular I don't know tools or resources you've been using? I know with an engineering background, you probably have some tricks up your sleeve. I mean, is there anything you'd recommend people take a look at if they're trying to be more efficient or smarter with their land business?
Yeah, so we started using different online resources like Podio for kind of workflows, kind of when certain things happen, collect our leads. We started doing that. But at the same time, I created my own database using this software, and it created my own user interface. And like I mentioned, it has all the algorithms in there and uploads everything.
Cool.
And that's actually something we're thinking about developing further into. I don't know. It could turn into an app at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
My wife says you got to sell that. I'm like, I don't know, how many people would actually buy this, but it kind of is the same thing. Not so much like Podio, but it's pretty much has all the information on my phone. So when I'm out, at my 9 to 5 and somebody calls me, I can look them up. I just ask them I put a reference number on each of my letters. So I tell them, hey, can you give me that reference number?
Mhm.
On this database that I have? It'll pop up. It'll give me their name, their address, the property address. It'll even show me a map of where the property is if
Mhm.
there is a address associated with it.
Hmm.
And I could take a whole bunch of stats there. I could tell exactly when they call, jot down their number, and
Yeah,
it's
man.
just something we've been developing. Want to hopefully further develop that. I think might hire a professional to help me take it to the next level.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's.
I would totally pay for something like that. Can I give you my credit card number right now? That sounds pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I know we're gonna try it out because it's right now it's only off of my iMac,
Hmm.
and I think they offer the next level service. You can put it on a server.
Hmm.
People can go in there. But trying to figure out how to separate it because I don't know if everybody wants to see the same data. I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll figure it out. I think getting the user
Yeah.
interface a little simpler would help.
I'm
'Cause it's
sure
right now.
I'm sure there's something there. I mean, it's the similar kind of thing. Like when you look at something like, Lead Propeller or Investor Care, it's like they're taking something that's pretty tedious to create your own website, and they just
Yeah.
sort of, it's not like perfect, but they make it a lot easier than it would have been. And it
Yeah,
sounds like a
yeah.
similar kind of thing. Like there's all kinds of just chaos that we have to deal with as land investors, and if you can like
Oh
connect
yeah.
the dots even a little bit, I mean, could be a lot of value
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it contain. Yeah, I put. I guess I could say checklist. I don't really call them checklists, but basically before I get it, when I get a property, I have like, did I verify taxes? Who am I going to close with? It
Mhm.
has all that information, kind of like
Yeah.
when everything's checked, then we're ready to go close or say yes to the property, and we're going to go forward with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it does have. I think it does have potential, but I don't want it to take my focus from actual land buying.
Yeah.
So
No, I know what
it
you
did
mean.
that. That's part of what slowed me down on the second year. Also, was had two bad properties, took out money, then I focused on things that didn't make me money.
Sure.
But now it's helping. So
Cool, man. No, that's cool. Either way, I hope hope you can do something with it. Sounds interesting. So, like, what is your plan at this point? Like, do you want to sort of just do this part time indefinitely, or do you want to like jump into it full time at some point, or do you want to go down the path of sort of doing the software thing, or like where do you want to go?
yeah. Me and my wife were talking about that, and we do want this as a side gig for a while. We wanted to fund our other projects like the software. We have other ideas. We want to go back into wholesaling houses, but more like the wholesale model where we don't actually fix them up, just sell them back to buy them cheap. Use the same thing, send out direct mail, buy them cheap,
Hmm.
and sell it at their market value, and then to other flippers and stuff like that. But we want to grow the business so we can buy all those properties cash. We don't want to, owner finance, get into all those
Sure.
deals there. But yeah, and eventually I want all the real estate stuff to take over pretty much my full income. Right now, our goal is once I can double my income from my 9 to 5,
Hmm.
then I could look at really
Yeah.
stopping working.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's one of those things like it. On one hand, it sounds like too good to be true. Like, how could I ever be that lucky? But it does and can and will happen at some point.
Yeah.
Like when the business keeps growing, at some point, your job becomes the bottleneck, and it's literally getting in the way of your progress. It's not so much like a I don't like my job type thing. It's just like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to do this job anymore.
No,
So-
I know it's no, but yeah, when I first started this business, it was complete opposite. I was working all weird hours.
Mhm.
I was on call pretty much any time of the day, and
Mhm.
if they needed me, I had to go out and go fix whatever the problem they had at whatever time they called me, and that's kind of what started this path.
Sure.
And yeah, I wanted all that time back. So now
Mhm.
I think I'm kind of in a good place because now my job's more predictable,
Hmm.
my role's more predictable,
Hmm.
and I have the side business that's kind of predictable as
Mhm.
far as the income and the time it takes. So
Yeah.
I get to spend more time with my family, and it's great. It's great.
Awesome. Very cool. So I'm curious in if you don't want to answer this, you can just tell me to shut up. That's totally fine. Because I didn't prompt you on this before, but I know you said your wife has kind of been like part of this. Has she sort of been on board since day one, or was she ever
Yeah.
like not sure about the whole business plan idea?
So she was on board. She knew probably more than I did that this would work.
Okay, cool.
She had a lot of confidence in me, which is great.
That's
Because
awesome.
at times I'm like, I don't know, if this is really the right thing to do. And she's like, no, this is good. That software, the database we have, she's the one who says you got to develop that more. Even the first properties we bought, even though, I had some hesitation. She's like, no, it looks good. Let's do it. So she's been on board. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a huge blessing. That's
Yeah.
because that's something. I mean, you can't really predict when you're getting married to somebody if they're going to be on board with all your crazy ideas. And I've had some pretty jacked up business ideas in the past,
Yeah.
and you know, most of them did not go well, and my wife knew it from day one. But land was the first
Yeah.
thing where she ever was like, "Yeah, like I can kind of see that working. That makes sense." So
Yeah, exactly.
I guess as we wrap this up, with everything you've been doing, has it been what, like 3 years, 4 years you've been doing this now? The land business?
Probably 3.5.
3.5? Okay. Is there any big word of advice you'd have for other new investors, maybe who have been doing this for 6 months, or maybe they're looking at it from afar, just thinking, that looks interesting. Do you have any like advice or words of wisdom or just huge lessons you've learned along the way?
Yeah. There's let's see what I could think of. There's probably several things I could probably go on for hours
I
on
bet.
that. But, excuse me. There is, this is a low cost of entry. This investment. I know I started out probably with $5,000, almost $8,000, but
Okay.
you could start with a lot less. I know that. I bought, I think the lowest price property I bought was $700. So
Okay.
you could, I saw your recent post about, real cost of entry
Yeah, sure.
for this. So yeah, that's right on, so, and it's way less than, any other kind of investment. It's more predictable. If you're starting out, I really recommend listening to a lot of motivational talks, read books that kind of inspire you, because it's tough. It's tough to keep that momentum going. And if you trip up, you just know that that's just another lesson that you're learning. And due diligence is a big deal.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is even as you're talking to people, sometimes they don't give the best advice, so don't take my word for everything. But when I'm doing my due diligence, I've called realtors, and they sometimes aren't the experts.
Yeah,
so
that's for sure.
Just remember that it's always they don't know everything. They're great at appraising houses and everything, but when it comes to land, it seems like I can't find a good realtor that will tell me exactly what something's worth out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's one of those things where like experience is just kind of a brutal teacher sometimes, and
Yeah.
like especially with the due diligence thing. I mean, I've had that before too, where I've just kind of moved too fast and just I don't know if it was laziness or I was just not thinking of every possible angle. But you get
Yeah.
into a property and something comes up, and I've never really had anything that like really hurt me, but it's true that like once you experience that, like it probably is never going to happen again. Like you're never going to miss that issue because you remember. It's just not
Exactly,
fun.
exactly.
So, no man.
Yeah, and at some of those properties, you just gotta have faith and you take the plunge. I mean, follow your gut, and then if your gut was wrong, put a check for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just you have to make mistakes. I mean, it's part of life. So it just I know it. I know when I first started that, when I heard that, it was like, oh man, come on, just tell us the real thing, But,
Sure.
but it's true. It's true. You just got to make those mistakes, and hopefully they're easy to overcome.
Sure. Cool, man. Well, hey, Victor, I appreciate so much you taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate just your support, your willingness to be part of the RE Tipster Club. It's just been really fun to hear about your success and hear about some of the stuff you've done. And it's I've learned a couple new things here. I'm really glad we could talk, and hopefully some of the other people watching this have learned a couple new things too. So.
Oh, okay, great. And thanks for everything you've done for everyone. It's been great experience and great blog, and keep it up.
Great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Thanks, Invictor, and thanks everybody for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye.